They're making a big mistake disrespecting the Golden State Warriors. As you all know, the NBA preseason has just started, and we started off with Golden State Warriors versus the Washington Wizards over in Japan. Now, although it was a great game, there was a lot of ESPN and NBA analysts talking about the predictions for this upcoming season, and they actually said that the Golden State Warriors, who just won an NBA championship, are projected to get 8th seed this upcoming season. Guys, they are completely disrespecting these NBA champions, and Steph Curry actually retweeted this and said 14% chance to win the finals last year too. So it looks like this team is looking to make a real name for themselves again this upcoming season, and in today's video we're going to be going through 5 underrated things the NBA or NBA analysts don't know about this Golden State Warriors team and why they're going to be unstoppable and win another NBA championship. But let's get straight into the first reason, and the first reason being is that Stephen Curry is still playing at the highest level possible. Now, a lot of people were a little bit worried when it came to Stephen Curry due to the fact that he is getting older. However, I do have to say, guys, that the Golden State Warriors and Stephen Curry are still playing at the highest level, and you definitely saw that during the preseason. He still moves very well, he moves very athletic, can dribble really good as well, and still shoots the ball like no one other. And I think this is really important to say because Stephen Curry, even though he is 34 years old and he is turning 35 this year or this upcoming season, there is a lot of rumors that he is getting older and he's not the same. However, guys, he really did prove last season and also is already proving again with his first game back that he can still play at the highest level possible. Now, last season, he actually averaged 25.5 points per game, 5.2 rebounds, and 6.3 assists. So he was putting up some pretty good numbers when it comes to all around game, whether it comes to scoring, defense, and also playmaking. And I think it's fantastic to see, Steph Curry really average those numbers and not really diminish due to the fact that he is getting older as each season goes. I really do think this upcoming season he can do even better than his stats last season because I think he can definitely average 30 points this upcoming season, and I do think he can definitely average around 6 rebounds and maybe 7 assists. And I think if he is capable of actually achieving that, he can win the NBA season MVP. We've had a lot of big men win it as of recently. Giannis has won it, Jokic has also won it the last couple of years. So I think it's time for a guard to recrown themselves an NBA MVP, and I think Stephen Curry can definitely be that guy. If he does average 30 points or 30 plus points this season and also brings the Golden State Warriors to maybe a top 3 ranking team in the Western Conference, which I think is very possible, I honestly do believe that Stephen Curry will be crowned NBA season MVP, and he will definitely prove all these doubters wrong. I think it's fantastic to see someone at age 34 still producing such great numbers. Now, his game against Washington Wizards, he did only score a little bit of around 6 points, but he was only playing around 12 minutes. So obviously there really isn't a lot of game time we can watch, but when he was out there, he doesn't look any bit slower. He doesn't look like his jump shot has changed or anything like that, guys. He still looks very athletic and still moves great for his age. Now, people also don't realize that Stephen Curry's game isn't built off athleticism like John Moran or Derrick Rose. So when he gets older, I can definitely see Stephen Curry playing all the way till 40 because his game's built off the 3-point shot and being a very skilled player. And that's why you saw players like Ray Allen be able to last all the way till 40 and still be sought after by so many teams because shooting, it really doesn't require a lot of athleticism, and I think Stephen Curry is definitely in the same category. What I do think surprised a lot of people though is that Stephen Curry actually chose a really good time to get a lot stronger. He is looking very strong, and when I mean very strong, I think he can definitely really keep up defense wise, and I think his defense has improved a lot due to the fact that he's been able to gain so much strength. And I think that's something that other point guards definitely have to watch out on because Stephen Curry may be able to bully you in the paint as if he was Giannis. The second underrated thing that no one knows about the Golden State Warriors is Klay Thompson is coming back with full effect. Now, I think Klay Thompson has been overlooked this past season due to the fact that Andrew Wiggins has taken a little bit of the spotlight and he didn't play that much of last season. However, guys, Klay Thompson is still that guy. He is still the second Splash Brother, and he is going to come out this upcoming season and prove a lot of these haters wrong. Now, last season, he actually only played 32 games in the regular season. However, he did play pretty much all of the playoffs as well, so he definitely has a lot of games under his belt, and he was looking very very good. Now, last season, he actually averaged 20 points per game, 3.9 rebounds, and 2.8 assists. So he was putting up some pretty solid stats, and a lot of people think that he wasn't even where he was back in the day. But guys, if I go back to his peak year in 2015 and 2016, which was pretty much peak Golden State Warriors, he was actually averaging 22 points per game, 3.7 rebounds, and also 2.1 assists. So he's pretty much averaging the same stats. However, he only averaged 2 points more back in 2015 and 2016. So there really isn't a lot of difference when it comes to Klay Thompson's game, and he's still producing the same numbers. Now, it's honestly fantastic to have someone like Andrew Wiggins on the team, because he's really taken a lot of the place that Klay Thompson left when he was injured for the past 2 seasons before 2021 and 2022. Klay Thompson did injure his knee and his Achilles, which are pretty much the 2 most season-ending injuries or even career-ending injuries, and we see Klay Thompson back in full effect. I think this season coming up, he's going to surprise a lot of people. I really do believe that he can actually average around 25 points per game next season when he is completely healthy, and he has said in recent interviews that he's feeling pretty much 100%. What I love about this new upcoming Klay Thompson is that he is coming back stronger than ever. I really do think he's gained a lot of size over the last couple of years, and he has actually even said it himself that he's gained a lot of muscle, and I think it's going to play a huge advantage, especially due to the fact that he is getting a little bit older. It will play really, really well, because I think they can definitely use him as someone that can also drive inside, shoot, and do all those great things. But people still forget, guys, Klay Thompson is only 32 years old, so he's younger than Stephen Curry. A lot of people thought they're the same age, but Klay Thompson definitely still has a lot of years left, and I think he can definitely bounce back from his 2 season-ending injuries and come back right and come back where he started. So Klay Thompson is a fantastic piece, and a lot of people are definitely sleeping on him. They all think, Andrew Wiggins is now the new Splash Brother, all that jazz. And although I think Andrew Wiggins is a great player, do not get me wrong, you don't want to forget Klay Thompson, because he can shoot lights out and drop 30-40 points if he ever wanted to. So I think that's what makes Klay Thompson and also the rest of the Golden State Warriors so dangerous. There is so many different opportunities for them to score, or someone to have a 30-40 point game. It could be Steph, it could be Klay, it could be Wiggins, could even be Jordan Poole. No one really knows, and that's what makes him so hard to guard and why they're going to win another NBA championship. But I think it's important to really mention that Klay Thompson is coming back with 100% health, and I think that is going to help get his efficiency up. Now, even though he was averaging roughly the same numbers when it comes to last season than he was back in 2015 and 2016, his percentages on his field goal and also his 3-point percentage fell by about 5 to 6%. So it isn't too much of a difference, but 5 to 6% can definitely play a huge effect, especially to the standard that Klay Thompson plays at, being such a great shooter. I definitely think he can get those numbers back up to where it was before, and he can definitely do it within this season and get back to an all-star status. So the third underrated thing that no one is noticing about the Golden State Warriors is that James Wiseman is coming back. Now, a lot of people forgot about James Wiseman due to last season. He actually suffered an injury in his knee. However, his rookie season in 2020 to 2021, he actually averaged 11.5 points per game, 5.8 rebounds, and 1 assist, and also 1 block. So he was putting up some pretty good stats for his rookie season, and I honestly do think it actually was a blessing for him to actually sit out last season due to the fact he's been able to develop and get back to where he is. Because in his first game of the preseason, he absolutely balled out. So James Wiseman played a lot of minutes for the Washington Wizards against Golden State Warriors game, and he actually averaged 20 points, 9 rebounds, and 1 assist. So he put up some really good stats and also achieved that in only 20 minutes of game time, which is honestly insane. James Wiseman, I think, has developed into such a great player, even due to the fact that he's only played 1 proper season and was injured last season as well. For him to average 20 points is really good. If you saw the way he actually scored the 20 points, it was a little bit of everything. He had a couple of shots from mid-range, even some threes, but also had a lot of inside presence as well. I think that's what makes James Wiseman so dangerous, especially as a big man. He's able to really get to his spots, able to shoot, and also score whenever he needs to. And, James Wiseman was such a high pick, and I think he is living up to his status where he was actually drafted, very, very high on the list. And I think it's really important to see that. A lot of people in his class may have been, bust or anything like that, but I think James Wiseman is really living up to the hype, and he is showing why he is going to be a really good center in this Golden State Warriors roster. They played very well together, and I think James Wiseman this season has a lot to prove. I think that season where he did sit out, it really gave him a lot of time to develop and just to really understand the game from the outside. Obviously, game time is very important, and I think that's why they're really going to get him out there as much as they can, and you can definitely see that, which is why they were playing him a lot in the preseason. Now, I know Kevon Looney and James Wiseman are fighting for that center position, and it is really interesting to see what Steve Kerr is going to run between the two. Now, my personal opinion, I think both are great. Maybe you can just have James Wiseman, especially this season coming up, have him coming off the bench just so he can get used to it. But if you start seeing Wiseman drop, 25 points off the bench, then it may be time to move him into that starting position. However, I think Wiseman off the bench would be really good to pair him with players such as Jordan Poole, JaMychal Green, Donte DiVincenzo. I think it gives that second unit a really star power that they can honestly dominate the second unit of any other NBA team. That team of Jordan Poole, DiVincenzo, JaMychal Green, James Wiseman, Mac McClung, this second unit, I think that could be definitely a great team, or that could be a starting five for a lot of other NBA teams. So Wiseman coming off the bench would be great to see, and I think his stats can definitely improve. I really do think he can develop a three-point jump shot, to be more exact, in this game, especially this season, due to the fact that he has players such as Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, even Jordan Poole teaching him the ropes. It's also great to see that the Golden State Warriors have James Wiseman under contract for a little bit longer, so he's not going anywhere. He's going to be with this team for a while, and I think James Wiseman can really develop into a fantastic player this upcoming season, as he is going to be getting more minutes due to the fact that a lot of players last season, JTA, Otto Porter, Gary Payton II have left, so it is going to be giving James Wiseman a bigger role, and he is going to have to step up and really prove himself, which I think he is capable of doing day in and day out. So the fourth underrated thing that no one knows about this Golden State Warriors is that this current Golden State Warriors roster is just as good as last season's championship team. Now, I know a lot of you may be thinking I'm crazy, and I know we did lose a lot of great players, and that's what I'm not taking away from them. Otto Porter, JTA, Gary Payton II, these guys were crucial players, and I think they were fantastic. It would have been great to have them continue and run it back again. However, they decided to take a bigger contract somewhere else, which is absolutely fair. But I think, Golden State Warriors and the front office have done a fantastic job to first keep all the main core players together, and also bring in new players that are going to be great for this team and going to surprise a lot of people. Some of the main mentions is Donte DiVincenzo. A lot of people, and also me myself, has said that Donte DiVincenzo is a perfect fit for this Golden State Warriors team, and I think he's a perfect substitute for Gary Payton II leaving. Gary Payton II, what he really did provide for this team was defense. He was also such a solid rebounder, and he had a little bit of scoring here and there. He was just a grime and gritty player, and he was able to do the role player job very, very well. And Donte DiVincenzo, I think, is a fantastic player for that. During the preseason game against the Washington Wizards, Donte DiVincenzo only played 15 minutes, but he had 10 points and also 7 rebounds. Guys, those are pretty much Gary Payton II stats. They're pretty much almost identical. I remember Gary Payton II was averaging around, 12 to 15 points, sometimes even only 8 points, getting like 6 rebounds and also a couple of assists. And Donte DiVincenzo showed what he's capable of in that first preseason game. Now, you're all probably thinking, what about Otto Porter? What about JTA? But you also got to realize it's not just signings that can also have a huge impact on this team, but it's also the development players. And what I mean by this is Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody are a perfect replacement for players such as JTA and Otto Porter. Now, don't get me wrong, Otto Porter was great. It's great that he has all that experience, and I think that's something he has over Kuminga and also Moody. But I think Kuminga and Moses Moody this season are actually going to be getting a lot more game time, and I have complete confidence that they're going to be able to really shine and show what they're capable of this upcoming season, given the fact that they're going to be getting a lot more minutes. Kuminga and Moody were only getting around 10 to 11 minutes per game last season, and I think that's definitely going up into maybe the 15-minute range, maybe all the way up to 20 minutes. So they're going to have a lot more game time to actually really flourish and really show their skills. In their preseason game, they did pretty well, actually averaging 6 points between the two. So, Jonathan Kuminga had 6, Moses Moody had 5, so they did a fantastic job there. But I think they are going to take some time to develop into that, but I do think they are a perfect fit to replace Otto Porter and JTA. So, am I saying this team is better than last year's? No, I can't really say that, because last year's team did win an NBA championship, and this season is just about to start. But when it comes to the actual skill-wise and the people we lost and the people that we used to replace them, I think we've done a fantastic job to find replacements. replacements. I gotta admit, Otto Porter, he wasn't really seen as a great player until he went to Golden State Warriors and they developed him into a much better player. Same with Gary Payton II. He developed much better in Golden State Warriors than any other team he's played for, and same with Juan Toscano Anderson. But JTA is an exception because he's only played with Golden State Warriors. However, when it comes to Otto Porter and Gary Payton II, they developed into great players being at the Warriors franchise, and I think the new players that are coming in can also experience that. Dante DiVincenzo may not be a star, same with JaMychal Green, Mac McClung, Moody, Kuminga, all these players, but I think this season coming up, they are going to be able to develop into another Gary Payton II or another, Otto Porter or another JTA. I think that is capable within them, and I think they've done a fantastic job to get the players that are willing to learn and really willing to do what it takes to become a great role player for this team. And not even getting me started on the rookies this season, I think we've gotten some great rookies in Ryan Rollins and Patrick Baldwin Jr. Guy Santos is, I think, kind of 50-50. I think he's playing for the G League right now. But when it comes to the rookies that are signed to this roster of Ryan Rollins and Patrick Baldwin, they've done a fantastic job to get some rookies that could have a potential to be something special in the near future. So they've done a fantastic job. And like I said, I'm not saying one team is better than the other, but Golden State Warriors have done a fantastic job replacing those players. And I think that is something that is very underlooked, and not a lot of NBA analysts and not a lot of NBA teams know of this. And the fifth underrated thing no one knows about this Golden State Warriors team is that Steve Kerr is still coaching this team. Now, a lot of people don't know, but having a great coach is so important. And I think Steve Kerr is so underlooked when it comes to how great of a coach he actually is. He's really taken this Golden State Warriors team over the past years to really become an absolute dynasty. And I think keeping the core of Klay Thompson, Stephen Curry and Draymond Green together, it has honestly been a recipe for success for this team and also for the whole organization. Golden State Warriors have done a fantastic job with the front office to really accumulate a team of great players that are able to play together. But Steve Kerr's job is definitely the one to come up with the game plan, come up and really deal with these different personalities, because we all know, every team has a couple of personalities that may be difficult to work with, and he's been able to really mesh them all together. I think Steve Kerr really doesn't get enough credit for this. I think the plays that he also does run are very good for the Golden State Warriors team. It really does help benefit Steph. It helps benefit Klay, Jordan Poole, Wiggins, Draymond, all these players, and it does have them put them in positions where they're at their strongest. I've seen a lot of other coaches, especially a lot of other game plans or plays, where they have players that are really not comfortable in a certain position, whether they're not a shooter and they end up on the corner three, or whether they're not an inside guy and they end up driving to the lane. So I think Steph Curry is a really great, shooter, and it does help having players of his caliber in your team. But I think Steve Kerr is still a recipe for success to get a coach of that caliber to be able to keep these guys all together. Now, Steve Kerr honestly has so much experience, not only as a coach, but as an NBA player. He also coached under Greg Popovich, who is definitely one of the greatest coaches out there. And once he moved over into Golden State Warriors to become a coach over there, that's when we really saw the Warriors start to flourish. So I think it's honestly great. He also did play with Jordan. He played with the Bulls, San Antonio Spurs as a player as well. He's won multiple championships both as a coach and player. So Steve Kerr has so much experience in both scenarios that he's really able to flourish and become something special. So I think that's something you definitely have to watch out for when it comes to next season, because Steve Kerr is definitely going to come out with something different. If you did watch the game against Washington Wizards and Golden State Warriors, you may have seen that Steve Kerr was running a lot of different plays. If you saw, you'd see Steph Curry actually coming off a couple of different screens that weren't really run last year. You also saw Klay Thompson, you maybe post up sometimes. Same with Wiggins coming out on the three more. So there was a lot of different experiments that Steve Kerr was actually running, and that's why I absolutely love him as a coach. He really does push the boundaries and keep everything different. I think that's what's made him so successful with this team and why this team has been so successful. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon. Peace.